Welcome to HQAF Radio. I'm Alana.
And I'm Francis. And this is a show about two best friends. Do you ever have moments where you are just so busy at work and you are doing several different things? Like throughout a single day, I might be tending to 3 or 4 different tasks, not so different that they're completely irrelevant to each other, but they're just so different that sometimes you have to just take a moment to switch your brain to the topic at hand. And it's just been so hectic that I feel like every single time I come into something like this, like the podcast, for instance, which we do every single time, that muscle memory just doesn't kick in. And I'm like, oh, what am I doing here again? Like, what the fuck am I, I have to almost relearn everything that isn't relevant to anything that I'm doing at that moment.
Yeah, I can totally relate. When I'm very busy too, or if I've been working on something a long time, or if I come back from vacation, I definitely have that moment of, wait, how do I do my job again? What do they pay me to do? What's going on? Or how do I do this? It's like shifting gears, you know? You don't have to give it a second to shift into that gear, and then you can put on your podcasting hat or your professional work hat. No, I totally get that. Brain fog, brain fart, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it all just goes to show you how important it is to, one, have a vacation. 2, if you're already fucking working 8 hours a day and it's all meetings, it just sort of feels like something has to give. You have to take some time to actually be able to do some work. I feel like I just am in meetings all day, every day, and there's just no time for me to actually get to do the work that I need to do for those meetings. It's very frustrating, which kind of brings me to the topic that we have today, actually. Talking about exercise is one of those things that you should be doing for yourself to help your mind just relax. You focus on exercising, do something good for the body. I don't know what that saying is, and I know I'm taking this from an anime, but have you ever seen Soul Eater, Alana?
No, I haven't. What did they say? I was hoping it was from Dragon Ball Z, but...
At the beginning, it goes, a healthy soul resides in a healthy mind and a healthy body. It's not just about working. It's not just about getting your intellectual stimulation on. It's also about working out your body. And, yeah. So today I just wanted to talk about exercise because, very relevant to me, I just got out of my second Orange Theory class of the summer of the year, I guess. And oh my god, fuck exercise. I'm a little over it right now. I'm I'm so sore. I just oh my god, I'm over it.
I'm surprised. I'm very surprised because, Francis, you have always been very physically fit, and fitness has been a part of your life. You have always been the most fit between the two of us. Exercise has been a part of your life for a long time. So 2 questions for you. 1, when did Orange Theory start up? I guess things are now at that phase in the post-COVID-19 world. So when did everything start opening up, or when was your first class?
I think for Orange Theory in particular, they were hit hard by a pandemic, as many gyms and fitness centers were. So when March came around, at that time frame, Chris and I were very active Orange Theory members. We have this membership that allows us to go 8 times a month. When pandemic hit in March, it just fell off for us. Orange Theory just completely shut down. They weren't allowed to have classes. And that's when they started going to this home workout series. But for me personally, in that sort of shift in routine, as well as the mindset that I was going through and the depression that I was feeling, it was hard for me to really establish another routine to get back into the swing of things. I did smaller workouts for sure, but it was never to the intensity of Orange Theory workouts. In comparison, one workout session that I might do, maybe let's say I went for a 2-mile run, I might burn 300, 400 calories. When I go to an Orange Theory class, I burn about 650 calories. So it's
Oh my
just
God.
it's very intense. It's a very intense workout, and I like it a lot when you're at that level of fitness where you could be doing that sort of stuff. I think Orange Theory, they started classes back up maybe around the June, July timeframe. But I never felt comfortable going back into the class at that point. When they opened up, they did put a lot of restrictions in place to their credit. They reduced the capacity of the classes. They enforced a very strict cleaning regimen. Then fitness instructors, and I think even the patrons had to wear masks at that time. And a lot of those things are carrying over even to this day. But at that time, we just weren't feeling very confident or very comfortable going into a fitness class. It's a very small enclosed room. There's a good number of people in there exercising, breathing very heavily, and not knowing whether or not those people that you were exercising next to were being safe in their own pandemic lives. It was very hard to justify being able to go to Orange Theory at that point. It just didn't make sense for us, and we were being very careful at that point.
What was your exercise routine then during the pandemic? Because I feel like you guys still exercise. We're friends on Apple Watch, Francis and I and Chris. So I see you guys working out. I see you guys doing things. Tell us a little bit more about what your routine was.
I think at that time, I did a lot more running. We subscribed to Apple Fitness, and we had been doing some classes here and there. And so maybe we'll do a 30-minute class or a combination of 2 20-minute classes or something like that. And those are great. Those are fine for what they are, for home workouts. It does take a certain level of discipline to just go all out and just to really work out. And that's one of the reasons why I like Orange Theory a lot is there's like a very competitive nature to fitness classes, right? I don't know if you know this about me, Alana, but I am super competitive when it comes to fitness classes. So today, for instance, I was running next to this guy, and he was not running as hard as I was. So in my mind, as long as I was running harder than this guy, I was winning the fitness class, which makes no sense. There's no winning a fitness class or at all, but like it's also that sort of competitive drive when I go that helps me really maximize my workout times there. It only works if I'm beating somebody. Otherwise, if I'm losing to somebody, then I feel like complete shit.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, as long as I'm working out next to somebody that is either at my level or worse, then I feel really good about the workout.
I do feel like that's the appeal of people going to Orange Theory, going to formal exercise classes, or going to the gym is that competitive nature. You like to be competitive and you like to win and beat other people. But to me, that's the more intimidating part of working out. For example, my first sort of semi-quasi introduction to working out was when I fractured my ankle and I was in physical therapy. Which was very funny because I'm doing things like squatting and I'm doing these exercises with, bands and things that people do as part of their regular exercise routine, but I was doing specifically for physical therapy for my ankle to remember how to be an ankle. And I remember physical therapy took a lot longer for me to go through because, as my physical therapist put it in very kind words, there was a strength issue. So she didn't call me weak, but I wasn't able to perform certain exercises. She had asked me, is it hard because it's painful or is it hard because it's hard? And I said, oh, it's definitely hard because it's hard. I'm not feeling any pain. And she said, yeah, I feel like it's a strength issue. At this point, we have to build up that strength, which was already not there when I fractured my ankle. So then when I was 3 weeks in a boot, it just extra atrophied what very little muscles I had there. But I loved the physical therapy because everyone who was there at the physical therapy center was either really old or really messed up and like they broke a whole arm. And so I felt very successful, but I feel like in a regular gym setting, that is not how I would feel. Like I would feel like I would be the weakest animal of the bunch for sure. I'm the one that's not going to make it in Darwinism, as it were.
I actually think that you might enjoy a fitness class if they were all at your level, which I guess in this case is just like people who are disabled or
or really old.
Yeah.
Yes, like they were decrepit people. So I felt so good about myself. I'm like, wow, look at me go against this 82-year-old. Like, it was weird, but I felt so successful. I totally get the benefit. I felt so good after. I'm a competitive person, but that's the only setting I can succeed in.
Take that, grandma.
Yeah, fuck you, grandma. Jesus. Or people who were real sports players who got in a horrible accident. For me, I stepped on some slightly elevated sidewalk, and that's why I was there. Yeah, exercise has been a funny journey for me, but I feel like it's been a constant journey or a long time journey for you, right? Like, you've always been super fit.
Well, I can't say that I've always been super fit, but growing up, I had a very military upbringing, but I never was really interested in the physical aspect or even the military in general. My childhood was defined by just geeky interests like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z, and also a rebellion to my father, which entailed not caring about physical fitness, not caring about anything masculine at all, and just ignoring any overtures to that side of my life. That was my rebellion. I do remember one year, this was like, I think sophomore or junior year of high school, that my dad made me work out one summer. Like, he made me lift weights in our own home and had me do some, I don't even know what the exercise is called. This is how much I didn't care. But it was curls, like bicep curls. He was having me do some bicep curls and some basic weightlifting workouts. And I remember coming back to school that year, and people were commenting on how good I looked. But once school started, like, I dropped that like immediately and didn't even think about it.
Yeah, you weren't into it.
No. And then, but the next time that I had to think about it really was when I get into college, and for my ROTC scholarship. When you're in the military, you do have to maintain a level of fitness. There's a minimum standard that you have to maintain. And that's when I had to get really into it. Because my scholarship was on the line, my dad had told me that if I did not get that scholarship, he wasn't willing to pay for anything else for my college. So it was either get this scholarship or start taking out loans. Because I was faced with this choice, I just was like, let me go ahead and just, try to get as physically fit as I can. And actually, my college years, I was probably the fittest I had ever been. I will say, once I got into working out more, or at least maintaining a physical fitness regimen, you do see the benefits of it. I feel better when I work out, even though I opened this episode with like, fuck working out. I feel overall my general outlook, my general demeanor, I feel better. I feel a little bit more confident. But there's a certain level of discipline that's required as well, because God knows, like, I fucking hate running. I fucking hate working out to the point of your muscles failing. Like, it's the worst feeling in the world. And I also want to eat whatever the fuck I want to eat. The worst part about physical fitness for me is trying to keep up with a diet. Otherwise, you're missing out on the other half of the coin here, which is diet, which is one of the most important parts of physical fitness. But if you put a pizza in front of me, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm counting my calories today. Let me just have a bite of the crust or something. So...
Well, but isn't part of being physically fit or having a regular exercise routine that you have to counteract the energy that you're exerting with calories? Obviously, going to town on like candy or Funyuns, right, definitely not equal to the good carbs. But can't you also then eat whatever the heck you want if you're regularly exercising? Or is that a lie that they tell us on infomercials or in school?
So very generally speaking, if you are trying to lose weight, if you burn 900 calories and you consume 900 calories, you're not going to lose weight. In order for you to lose weight, you need to consume less than the amount of calories that you're burning, right? Like, you're working off the calories and you don't want to replace those calories. You want to eat less than you're burning off. So yeah, generally speaking, if you eat 900 calories and you keep everything the same, that's the status quo. That's exactly what you want. You want your body to just keep going. There's just so much more to it, though, and that's where it starts getting a little complicated. There's these things called macronutrients. I think the 3 macronutrients are carbs, proteins, and fats. and you want to minimize the amount of fats that you're getting in. If you're lifting, you want to maximize the amount of protein that you get in. It starts getting into very mathematical things. I don't know if you knew this, but I actually did that for a little bit, 1 year.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember this.
About 4 years ago, I was actively logging every single thing that I was eating. And it's definitely a lot to get into. And for me personally, I do have a very active social calendar that does not involve eating in all the time. During normal times, I'd go out to restaurants or I'd go out to bars, and I want to eat whatever I want to eat. I want to drink whatever I want to drink. And it's just hard to maintain tracking your nutrients, tracking your calories, and also try to maintain an active social life. When I go to a restaurant, I don't necessarily know how many calories are in a dish. So it just makes it really hard to be able to do that.
Wait, so were you counting calories for weight loss? Because you've never been overweight the entire time we've been friends. And just to toot Francis's own horn, Francis is the most fit person I have ever met, and I know. In fact, one time I remember we were sitting and watching a movie. It was a scary movie, and we were all huddled on a couch together, and something scary happened in the movie. It was a rare moment in time in which I was physically touching Francis because I was holding his arm because I was scared. And he was a rare moment in that he was allowing that to happen and didn't knock me away. And so I'm holding Francis's arm and something scary happens and we both jump. And so I feel Francis's arm contract from being scared. And it was just all muscles. So I'm surprised about the calorie thing, but was it just for health reasons or was it weight loss? Because, yeah, you've always been the strongest person. I know you can kick anyone's ass.
I'm telling you this, and I guess I feel not hesitation. Like, I don't know what the feeling is. And I'm not trying to hide anything from you, but I feel a little bit of trepidation about revealing this.
Oh, my God. We're revealing some truths on the podcast? I love. Okay, let's go.
The year that I was doing that, I went and got a physical, and at that time, my weight kind of fluctuates between 145 and 150. And for me, that's been very typical. When I was younger, in my college age, I was around 140-ish. And so towards adulthood, I'd gain 5-10 pounds. But knowing about the amount of exercise I do, even at that time, I wasn't super concerned. I was still in the military. I was still actively working out. But when I went to the doctor, he measured me, he weighed me, and I think I was on 151 or something at that time. And he said that my BMI, my body mass index, put me just into overweight, just one number into overweight. And I sort of obsessed over that, really. I was just like, I can't believe that I'm at that point. Let me try to work out more. Let me try to do this and count my calories and figure out what I'm doing wrong. Because I'd never thought of myself like that.
But did that also count muscle weight? Because muscles weigh more than fat. And so that's where Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example, would weigh like a crazy amount. Like he would be regarded as obese, but he's all muscle, so then he's not. So wasn't that the case for you? Or did they do the little pincer thingy?
That's a good point. BMI isn't held up as the good way for measuring somebody's body fat content. It's a standard that is very much based on outdated concepts. I think like the standard is actually more applied to white men, and it really only applies to a certain body type. And so just the straight number of comparing your weight to your height is meaningless in terms of body fat and if you're overweight or obese.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew that at the time because in the military, if you do reach a certain BMI, they do the pincer, the body fat measurement test, where they pinch a part of your waist to see how much body fat is there. But for me personally, it was just a shock to the system. Like I had never been in that range before, even BMI wise. And I put a lot of emphasis on that, even though I knew in my logical mind that didn't make any sense. And that's where I just started obsessing over it a little. I did put in a lot of effort trying to learn more about BMI, trying to learn about macronutrients and counting calories. And I think the hard part about that lifestyle, it's a lot to just take in, and good on you for if you are the type of person that is interested in that kind of stuff. It's certainly helpful. But for me, it wasn't conducive to my lifestyle. I couldn't reconcile trying to do all of that, trying to devote a lot of time into personal fitness and dieting between everything else that I wanted to do in terms of work, in terms of hanging out with my friends, in terms of going to see my family, who at that time they didn't give a fuck about the kind of food that they were eating.
What is your current relationship then with exercise? Is it just a great practice and it helps you mentally or emotionally, taking a break and just focusing on you? And I always thought that was a lie, just to trick people into exercising. But no, the scientists and doctors are not lying. It's true, you dumb bitch. Like, why did it take 30 years? Or is there a health aspect, or is it a combination of both? What is your outlook now?
Yeah, I think that I want to get back into my routine. After this year that we've had, I want to start feeling like I can have a normal life again and just get back into working out and feeling like I can start doing things and having things that are under my control. And I'll be honest with you, another aspect of it, maybe a little bit of the pandemic, maybe a little bit of just my own unresolved feelings over my BMI, but every time I step on that scale and I see the 150, I always think about that moment where the guy was like, yeah, you're a little overweight by the point. He didn't say it in malice, but I think about that a lot when I look at the scale.
Oh, that's not fun.
It's not a bad thing because I'm not changing my diet. I refuse to, but a lot of people have it a lot worse than I do. And it's a weird feeling, right? To be in that arbitrary standard and know that that standard exists, right? Like, people are measuring you against it whether you want to or not, and feeling like you have to work really, really, really hard in order to get there. When I was at the peak of doing my working out and trying to diet, I had only gotten down to 145. I just lost 5 pounds, and that was what was the difference for me. But it's hard to maintain that for me too, because when you get older, it's just not easy to continue to do that without a hard look at your own life. And so, going back to your question about your relationship with exercise and diet, I think I just really want to be able to get back into it and go back to feeling a sense of control over my life. And even if I can't get back to 145 or 140, it's a matter of mental health at this point, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And I feel like that's where everyone's at, right? Now that the vaccine rollout is underway and things are opening up, and we're all just a little excited just to remember what things were like before. A sense of normality, because it's been the weirdest time. It's been a lot. Yeah. It's been a hectic, hectic year.
It really has. So turning the lens to you, I know you've been doing physical therapy since the start of the year. Do you want to get into a little bit of why you started doing that?
Absolutely. So I've been working out since January of this year, and that's been really great. So my relationship with exercise, going back before 2021, all of Alana's life prior to 2021, my relationship with exercise was non-existent. I didn't play sports as a kid. I wasn't very interested. I'm a competitive person, but you put some sort of form of a ball in front of me and I just don't care. I don't have a very high endurance, so I would get tired and then I would just get over it. I'm just like, this doesn't matter to me. Can I go home now? Can I write fan fiction? Can I watch anime? I just was never into sports as a kid. My parents tried very hard, God bless them, but it wasn't for me. The only thing I have done really up until 2021 is that I go on walks. I go on a lot of walks. Pre-pandemic, I was walking at least 2 miles a day. And that was it. And every year I would go and see my doctor and he would say, oh, have you started doing exercise? Not because anything about my weight. I usually trend a little bit underweight. My doctor would just say, hey, might be good to do things other than walking, because it's just good for you. It's good to get the heart pumping. It's good to get your heartbeat up. And just in the longevity of your life, it's better to exercise than to not exercise.
And your mom before had a very specific way of thinking about women working out, didn't she? She pretty much didn't want you to get muscles.
So my mom has been working out for a long time. She actually learned about working out back in the 70s. Her uncle was real big into fitness. He was a personal trainer at a gym. So in the 70s and 80s, my mom learned all about the different ways that you work out. But yeah, I don't know about the muscle thing. Probably. That sounds like my mother, old world, like kitchen with a view. That sounds like some shit that she would say. I just can't recall it exactly.
I guess we talked about this in some other conversation, but I think that's one of the reasons why you never lifted anything in your life, because I guess it was either a woman's job to not lift anything and it was a man's job. But I always thought it was because of also you were a woman and you should not have a muscular figure. And like you were saying, like that's very much an old world mentality. My parents had that very same mentality for my sisters, actually, and that's why I had to do a lot of the heavier lifting when it came to that sort of stuff. Not that my youngest sister, Alex, adheres to that. She's pretty much a bodybuilder now, and if you look at her, she is ripped. But that's something that they'd always tell her is like, Alex, don't get any muscles. Muscles don't look good on a woman.
And now you're reminding me that, yeah, my mom would never let me go and lift heavy things. And so that is what I attribute to me being weak and bird-like, is because I never had to lift anything. I grew up with 3 boys. And so all of my brothers always did all of the heavy lifting. And so my mom was just like, oh, don't lift that. Let the boys do that. But there are things that men do. There are things that women do. I will say that my mom did tell me, Alana, now you're married, you have to stay in shape, you have to do XYZ, and to keep the man interested, and blah, 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 and all this totally old school mentality. I don't know how to describe it.
Almost like stereotypes.
Gender roles, I guess, right?
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
Like we're meant to be pretty and be slim or whatever. That's always been my mom in the back of my mind. So my relationship has been pretty whatever, because I just walk, and that was fine. And then my doctor just saying, hey, might be good to utilize some of those other muscles in there. Maybe you can lift things on your own instead of having to wait for a brother or a husband to do those things.
Maybe you can actually help people move instead of just carrying out a couple pillows.
Oh, if my wingspan feels particularly large that day, yes, like maybe I could do other things. I'm usually a very self-sufficient person, and so one would think that would inspire me in and of itself, but I guess my mom really got into my head and was like, no, you don't ever have to do that. And I thought, okay, great. Love that. Love one aspect of my life where I don't have to do things. But it would be good to do those things and to be self-sufficient. So 2020 comes around and it's very stressful. And towards the end of that year, I was very hell-bent on getting a therapist. I knew I needed some therapy. I was going crazy. And I had talked about it. Even on the radio show, you can hear me saying, I should probably go back to therapy. And it was really towards the end of 2020 where I was like, I need a therapist. Like, I'm researching therapists. I'm reaching out to people. Everyone is naturally incredibly busy. No one is getting back to me. And I'm losing my damn mind. Truly, I feel like I'm going crazy. After a while, I just thought, I have to change something. Like, it's 2021 and there's so much going on and everything's terrible. And January 6th had just happened, and I thought I need to go and see a personal trainer. And so I started seeing a personal trainer. It's actually Harley's personal trainer that he started seeing, I forget when. I guess sometime in September. And it was around the same time that he went to see the doctor, and he changed his diet, and he started doing personal training. And so I just was like, oh, okay, I know that Harley sees this person, I'll just go and see this person. I just can't keep walking in circles and thinking that's going to make me feel better. I remember the first session was an evaluation. He had me do this fitness test, which is a nationwide fitness test. I forget what it's formally called. It's something like a standardized fitness scale kind of thing. One of the exercises, which I remember I was describing to Francis, that was making him laugh so hard, was he had me go and put one arm like bent behind my back, and then the other arm is under my head, and I'm trying to reach my 2 hands to hold each other. And he said to hold that position for, 10 seconds. And my arms were sore from just being in that position. I was like, oh wow, this is so difficult. What is happening?
Were you just stretching? Was that it? You were just stretching your tricep?
I think that is what the experts would qualify this as. Literally stretching. Like, not lifting anything, just stretching. He had me go and put this long bar type thing. And he's like, oh yeah, put this against your back and then just lean forward. And then once you can't lean, or once your back goes away from the bar, then stop. And that was really difficult. And he told me to stand on one foot and then the other one, and that was hard. And like, just wait. Basic things.
Did you just say stand on one foot? Like keep one foot grounded and keep the other foot up or something like that?
I don't think he did. I don't know if I told the story about the sitting and the standing, but literally one of our first sessions was like, not doing squats. Let me have you sit down and stand up. So that was my level. I think the average person's score, he told me, was 14. And my score was 9. And so I had failed the fitness test. And he was like, okay, this is where we're starting from. This is good. This was to get a sense for him where we were starting at. And yeah, it's been a journey ever since. Now I do formal squats, but yeah.
I still can't believe you can't stand on one foot. I have a hard time seeing that.
Listen, what we discovered at the end of the fitness test is that I lack mobility and stability. He said your stability is just not great, and that's probably why when you stepped on some slightly uneven sidewalk, you immediately fell. Like, people have the stability to catch themselves, and you just fell. And I was like, yep. That's why some people break their body doing actual exercise, and I failed at walking one night, and that was just it. I was done for 2.5 months.
God.
Like, so your girl had some trouble.
How are things going now? Like, how often do you go to see him, and what kind of exercise are you guys doing now that you're 6 months into physical therapy? Oh, wait.
Or working out.
Okay, I was just making sure, because it sounds like physical therapy to me, because like all you're doing is sitting up and standing, sitting down and standing up.
The basics are where we had to start before we got into the real working out shit. This guy actually works out of a physical therapy center, and because of COVID, he only sees one person at a time. So then I don't feel embarrassed or weird about comparing myself to other people. And he's very understanding and very much like, I want you to tell me what you want to improve upon, or things that hurt, or things that are too hard. And I'm a very vocal person when it comes to that, because I am weak, which he says, you're not weak, you're just fatigued. And I'm like, thank you. I'm the strongest bitch alive. This is great. And so
this standing up and sitting down is just too hard. I'm so fatigued.
Seriously. And it's so funny too, because Harley and I actually see him on the same day. So he'll see Harley first, and then I'll work out with him afterwards. Harley is on a very different workout regimen, because Harley is a lot more in shape than I am. Even though he weighs a lot more, he is overweight. He's very muscular. He's always been very muscular. He used to do weightlifting in high school and work out with a personal trainer, and even did competitive weightlifting. So I'll see him going with these big weights in this bar, and then my personal trainer will hand me like 2 10-pound weights in both my hands. He's like, okay, I just want you to walk up and down in the little workout center. And I said, you don't want me to lift? He's like, no, I just want you to walk. I want you to feel the weight and just get used to that. And then I was tired afterwards. Recently, in a workout thing, he brings over a 15-pound weight, and I go, what is that? And he said, okay, calm down. Don't worry. You're going to like this workout. And I said, okay, well, what am I doing? And he said, I just want you to hold it and then stand up on this stool, and then step down. At one point I go, I can't do it. And he's like, I don't want to hear I can't. Like, you have to at least try. I'm like, fine. It was really hard. I had to do it one step. I guess, how do you do a stand? Otherwise, I was like, I had to do it 1 foot at a time. But like, how do you do a step?
How big was the step? Like a normal stairs kind of step? Just like a few inches?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's a stool. Like, it's just a regular step. It wasn't a high stool or anything like that. He's just like, yep, I just want you to step, not jump up, not both legs at the same time. Just do one step. Not lifting the weights either. Like, literally holding them at my side. And so then I said, this is too hard. And he's like, okay, you can do one weight at a time. And that helped. So
Alana, I'm a little shocked. Surely there must have been a time in your life where you had to carry something up the stairs, like 10 pounds, 15 pounds.
No, but I never lift heavy things.
You weren't even lifting it. You had it to your side. Imagine if you were carrying a bag and you had to go up some stairs. Like, that's what that is, right? That's what you're replicating.
Yeah, I would make Harley do it. Like, literally, my whole life, I've always lived with men. And part of living with me means you do all the heavy lifting. And by heavy lifting, I mean everything that is 7 pounds plus. Honestly, even 5 pounds. I'm like, can you get this? Like, Amazon packages. Harley would go, can you go and bring it in? It's not that heavy. You can get it. I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely not. Like, I'll just touch it. Like, go to pick it up. I'm like, oh, no, it's really on there. Like, the ground. It's, like, cemented on there. It's like, oh, but it's only 10 pounds. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like your problem, not mine.
Oh my gosh.
I know, and I told my personal trainer about it. He said, yeah, I definitely think that there's a neurological block for sure. And that's actually a thing. Like, you can have a neurological block to certain things. My whole life, basically just saying I'm too weak for this became my neurological block and made me just a weak little person.
And I guess that explains why you were so defensive when he came over with the 15-pound weights. You were just not ready. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I did ask my personal trainer, can I still make Harley do all the heavy lifting? And he said, you can do whatever you want, but I feel like you'll be happier in the long run being able to carry things. I'm like, I guess you're right. Fine, we'll do it. But it's very funny.
So what is your goal for this then? Do you have a set goal for your time with your personal trainer? Are you going to say like, okay, by the end of this, I'm going to be able to carry 20 pounds up the stairs or something like that? I'm going to be able to sit down and stand up 100 times?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, I would like to be just a little bit stronger and self-sufficient, because I am a self-sufficient lady, and even though my mom has conditioned me to make all of the men in my life do the heavy lifting, I would like to get out of that, because sometimes Harley goes into the office and I don't currently, so that means 8 hours a day it's just me and the cat, and the cat can't change out the water bottle or bring in something heavy from Amazon. So like, it would be nice to be the master of my own destiny, but it's really just to get stronger at the basic level.
And all of those Amazon packages that come in the middle of the day, anybody listening to this podcast now knows to just steal it off of your front porch, because you're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, that's going to be sitting there till 5 p.m. during the weekdays. Like, please make it a Saturday delivery, because otherwise that is living there for the rest of the day. Yeah, they pile up, Francis, and they get really heavy, and I just can't bear it. And also, my cat is 12 pounds. If it's to the point where I can't carry my cat, I mean, I just think there's a problem. I should be able to pick up my cat. If she gets to be 15 pounds and then I can't pick up my cat, like, what's going to happen?
Well, you actually bring up a good point, because you also want to have a kid at some point. You should be able to carry your kid when they're just 15 pounds.
Oh, I've talked about this with my personal trainer. I said, well, what happens when we have kids? And he said, this is why it's great that you're getting into fitness now, because kids, they do get heavy. And the thing with kids is that they're really small, but they're incredibly dense. And so I said, oh my God, what's going to happen when I have kids? Can I just make Harley hold the baby the whole time? And he said, well, that's why you're doing this, I imagine, so you can hold your kid.
Not even just carrying the kid physically when the kid is born. What about when you're pregnant? Because this is me being a little bit naive into pregnancy, but I would assume that you're going to need some level of strength once you get into your third trimester. Otherwise, you're probably going to be bedridden for a while. Which I can't imagine that being the most ideal scenario for you. I think you would go fucking crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think any doctor would say pregnant woman should be bedridden, unless like there's other sorts of a physical ailment where you need to be bedridden. But otherwise they're like, no, you should be moving around. It's good for you to be mobile and active and to just not be in bed. And that is something that has come up between Harley and I. I said, Harley, what's going to happen when I get pregnant? He's like, oh God, I can already hear the the complaints, like, it's going to be so hard for you. Like, I hope that it's great for you, but you're so weak. Like, you really need to get that in order. I don't know how you're going to survive. And the fact that me as a normal person, sometimes I can put things into perspective, but sometimes small and very insignificant things really piss me off. Because, like, I can't imagine when you have hormones that are actually making you crazy, like, you're going to be a mess. So please get yourself in line, get active and whatnot, just for your own good, for all of our goods, because it's going to be a fucking ride otherwise. Yes, I have thought about that, Francis. What if I just succumb to the weight of my own body and I give up, like, halfway through? I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to peace out till this kid comes. Like, bye. Fucking funnel food into me and leave me alone. Like, oh, I've already thought about that. So has Harley.
And I know that you are not going to enjoy that. You're like, oh my God. Do you remember when your mom hurt her leg? Well, and granted, you were on the opposite side of that, having to take care of your mom. But you would essentially be your mom in that scenario. And I think there's only so much patience Harley has. He's a chill dude, but I think that would wear thin pretty quickly.
I know. Oh my God. And if I'm dramatic now and I'm emotional now, I can't even imagine. It's crazy. And that's really what I'm interested in seeing as my character development, this new subplot in my anime main character anime story. But yeah, so that's really what I'm in it for. It's just so I can be a slightly more fit not even fit, because I think I just am trying to become a regular person. Like a fit person would like have like this wouldn't even be part of the conversation. I just need to be a regular fucking person. Like, regular people can carry things.
Your bare minimum is just being able to do normal people stuff. Like being able to carry 15 pounds up a set of stairs.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, I was like, I can't. And he's like, well, don't say I can't until you at least try. This is just stepping up. Like, not moving your arms is stepping up. Like, you're gonna have to give me a try here. And I said, okay, it's only because I like you.
And you're also paying him money.
Exactly. Yeah, it's doing wonders for me. I do ask him, like, oh, do you see improvements? He said, oh, absolutely. There are certain things that when we first started, you're doing more reps of them. I've been slowly increasing the weight of the weights that you're holding. I definitely see improvement. Lunges don't destroy me. Oh my God, lunges are so fucking hard. I hate them. They were really hard in physical therapy. They're really hard now, but I'm able to do that. He was noting like, oh, you're able to do those with weights and all that. So like before I couldn't even just do it as a single, oh my God, he gave me like a walking stick initially when I was doing lunges. He's like, here's a walking stick. Cause I would just fall over. He would have to like, what is the thing when you spec someone or something? Like he would have to walk up beside me when I first started doing lunges to make sure I wouldn't fall over, because I would fall over like doing a lunge. Just down the workout center. And I was like, can I be done? He's like, can you do it one more time? I'm like, okay, well, you're just going to have to follow me and catch me, bitch. He's very sweet and very patient, thank God, because I'm a very special case. Yeah, he says there's been a lot of improvement, but I definitely think I'm not at regular people level yet. And it's especially funny that some of the exercises are the same we'll do sometimes, but with Harley, there's added weight for everything. Like he'll do clamshells, like we'll both do. And there was one time I said, oh, I think it's so interesting, Harley, that he adds this a wraparound weight for Harley when he does clamshells, but for me, he doesn't add any weight. Or I don't get anything wrapped around my leg. I just do it. And I was like, oh, I wonder why that is.
What's a clamshell?
Oh, a clamshell is where you're laying on your side and you have your knees up 90 degrees and they're on top of each other. And you just raise the upper leg up in the air and then you raise it back down. And so you're working out your hip flexors and your thigh.
Yeah, your thighs.
And so... yeah, you just do that. I forget how many reps we do, but it's just like lifting it up. And so for Harley, he'll wrap around this weight. But for me, I'll just do it And then I realized as I was speaking, oh, it's because gravity is the weight for me. It is the weight of my own thigh that I am working against, not a weight attached. And Harley just started laughing his ass off. And he was just like, yeah, we're on different workout levels, honey. It's just going to be that way for a bit, you know?
Honestly, I don't think your goal is to ever be at Harley's level. It sounds like Harley's probably operating at above normal people standards. You just need to be a normal person.
I really do. Yeah, I just need to do normal things. I need to not be sore when I stretch. Like Francis, he'll have me do stretches. And I'm like, wow, I'm like so sore. And he's like, yeah, that'll go away with time. Like, you should probably stretch every day. And I'm like, but it's hard. It's like, yeah, it needs to not be hard. Like, it's stretching, her homegirl. Like, love you.
I
but
know.
It's...
Alana, I don't think your parents had a restriction on stretching.
No, for sure not. Like, my mom wasn't saying, don't stretch, that's a man's job. Like, no, the bare minimum is like stretching and not feeling it the next day, for sure. He actually told me, why don't you do that at home, like 2 to 3 times a week? I still have yet to do it. It's probably why I'm still behind.
He's probably like, stop wasting my time, Alana, with these stretches and just do it at home so we don't have to do it at our sessions anymore.
He even told me, when we're here, we can use the equipment, we can do these things that you can't do at home because you live in a small apartment. So like, you know, I'm here to help you however you want to be helped. But if you just want to stretch, like, we'll do it. Truly, like, that has been a conversation. Like, he is so kind. He said it in the kindest, most politically correct way, which is why he is so good. I love him so much. But... yeah.
That's honestly nice of him because from a personal trainer standpoint, if I had you as a client and that was all you would be interested in, I'd be like, what's your freaking money? Like, I'm here to help you, but if all you want to do is stretching, that's on you.
Yeah, like if you want company while you stretch, like, okay, give me your money, but we could also do other things. Use this equipment, like all this expensive equipment.
The goal that I'm going to set for you is I'm going to send you a present to your door. And it's going to be a great present, but the only way that you can get it is if you can lift it through the threshold of your door without Harley's help. Otherwise,
seriously,
you know, you're not going to see it. You're not going to be allowed to touch it. Yeah, we'll see. You know what? It's going to be something it's going to be something you need to put into your office, and it's going to be heavy.
Francis,
15 pounds. Yeah. Yep.
Stop. You're not. You're joking. Well, how will you
this is my
ensure
goal.
that, like, I won't get Harley to do it? How will you ensure that? If I know it came from you and you'll be like, look, like, do not, you'll write on the package, like, Harley, do not touch. Only Alana must lift this. Like, she must take it to the top of the mountain into her office and, like, no one else. Oh, the worst part is that I recently moved and I booked professional movers for the first time in my life. Well, now I look at everything and I go, oh my God, but do we need movers? Like, I look at everything now and I go, well, but wait, should we get movers for this? And it's like,
wait, you are in the part of your, like, moving process right now where you're unpacking things. And so you're unpacking these boxes and you're asking yourself if you need movers to move the things that you're unpacking somewhere else.
So, yeah, I've definitely thought about that. And then also, yeah, I mean, truly, like, everything that's in my office, I'm like, gosh, I really hope that this is meant for my office, because otherwise I don't know how I'm going to get it out of here. Like, can I book movers for very specifically, can you just move this from the downstairs to the upstairs? That seems like a waste of their time. But, like, do they do it? Is there a service where you can just book for, like, one-off situations? And Harley's like, Alana, stop. Like, please stop. I can do this, or you can do this. We can do this together. It's been an interesting journey in our marriage. My inability to hold weight past 10 pounds.
Honestly, like, I think that there is a service that exists like that. If you look on TaskRabbit, you can hire anybody to do any miscellaneous things that you want them to do.
Really? That's great, because I think I want to move my bed, but I'm, like, scared because it's heavy, probably.
Would I judge you for doing something like that, for trying to move your mattress up the stairs? Probably. I'm
not even talking about moving my mattress up the stairs. I'm just saying moving it slightly, because we don't have our nightstands yet, but I'm going to buy them. Alana, and also we have to adjust it slightly, or else it's going to be off. So then, what do we do?
You mean adjusting the placement of your bed in your room? You're not even having them move it?
You're just like slightly to the right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is that crazy? Oh my God, you're vaccinated.
Insane.
You're coming over and you're doing it. Which Harley goes, we can take off the mattress. Like, it's not the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, but isn't the frame heavy? And he's like, I don't think you understand how beds work. Just like everything seems really heavy. If it's like bigger than my wingspan, like my arms, it's heavy.
I have no idea how you've survived these past 30 years. I knew that you were doing personal training, and I knew you were easily fatigued, as your personal trainer would put it, but I just did not realize the extent in which you really do not move things at all in your life. I'm a little flabbergasted. Like, you really aren't going to move your bed until you can get me over there?
Probably. Unless Harley convinces me he can do it. Or one of my brothers can come over. But yeah, otherwise, like, that's where it lives forever. I know, it's crazy. And I also have this thing. I think it goes back to my neurological blockage. But also, if things appear, or literally, I do think I have a block where I'm like, oh, if it's wider than my arms, or if it might be heavy, that I just automatically go, oh, it's heavy. Like, our table, you remember my table in the little breakfast nook in my apartment? Yeah. It's not a big table. It's actually quite a small table. And I went in, I was like, oh, the movers are here. And it was the one thing in my kitchen I wanted to get out so that I could put my cat in there and whatever. It was a whole thing. And then I tried lifting. I'm like, oh, actually, can you get this? Francis, it's a tiny 4x4 shitty IKEA table. And I was just like, yeah, you're going to have to come in here. Can I get some help, please? Like, it's the one area of my life where I totally subject myself to not being self-sufficient. I love being in control, being a self-sufficient person. Can't do it with heavy things. Gonna have to wait for you, Harley, brothers, dad, my mom. Oh my God. The amount of times I'm like, oh, Mom, I can't help you. And she's been having back problems, or she like hurt her back recently. And so she'll have to go and do. I'm like, sorry, Mom, you're stronger than me. Like, lifting the big 42-pound thing of water. I'm like, oh, sorry, Mom, you're way stronger than I'll ever be.
But she only has herself to blame for that.
That's true. Maybe that's why she's never given me shit about it. Like, the one aspect of my life she doesn't give me shit about. I love my mother, but she does give me a lot of shit about a lot of things. But we love her first. Yeah. She just tells the truth. Oh, yeah. But that one, she really did let it slide with me. I mean, what the fuck? If I were to get attacked, like, it'd be over. Right? Like, I can't run very fast. and we know I'm not strong.
I mean, that's not untrue. It would probably be very easy to kidnap you. It would probably be.
Yes.
I'm not even sure that you
imagine?
Would. Yeah, I'm not, like, even if you wanted to fight back, I'm not sure that you'd be strong enough to fight back. Like, I'm pretty sure it'd be, like, very easy to just kidnap you.
Yeah, no, like, what, sometimes Harley and I will be playful, or be like, oh, silly or whatever. I'll give him like a playful punch. And to me, I'll feel like, oh, I punched him really hard, like by accident in the, heat of the moment. Playfully, we don't, obviously hit each other. But to me, it'll, like, the force of my hand will feel like it went really hard. And he'll go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he'll always laugh, and he'll go, that was nothing, Alana. And, or sometimes I'll go and I'll react to something like, ow. And he's like, what? That was, like, I will hurt myself more than I will hurt someone else if I, like, throw a real punch. Or, no, that must have been it. Like, Harley's like, oh, I want to see what your punch is like. Like, punch me. And I'll punch him, and he's like, that was nothing. I'm like, ow, my hand hurts now. Like, fuck this. Or if I give a really aggressive high five, oh my God. I am like,
you're like those cartoons. Like those cartoons where somebody like hits like the smaller character hits like the bigger character, and he hurts himself.
Yes.
Yeah, you're exactly like that. You're the personification of that.
I'm cartoonishly weak. Like, give me a really aggressive high five, and I'm like, ow, that hurts for the rest of the day. And it's a high five. It's crazy. I'm like primed for the kidnapping. God, I hope no kidnappers hear this and like come find me. Actually, try and come find me, because if I'm with Francis or Harley, you're gonna get your ass beat. So try me, bitch. I will just hide behind those guys.
I mean, we've given away a lot of details here. People know now if any packages come on your doorstep between 8 and 5, they're gone. Like,
right? Yeah,
I would say gone.
They're
ripe for the picking.
Exactly. I know. Harley's like, Alana, like, what would happen if you were ever anywhere alone and I wasn't here? I'm like, I think I would just die. Like, before anyone would kidnap me or shoot me, like, I think I would just die from like, oh, this is it. I'm done. Like, I might as well just die from shock or fear. Like, because it's over.
And my first thing was like, maybe you should just get a gun. But, the recoil... The recoil from you trying to fire a gun would probably hurt you more than it hurt the attacker.
It really would. Yes. And if you look at my Fortnite record, I probably wouldn't hit them. And yeah, guns, like, I went to this one camp where we shot guns and I was like, oh, I don't like this. Like, the force is really hard. So no, thank you. And also they're really loud. I don't like that. It hurts my ears. Like, how am I not that character born with glass bones and paper skin? Like, I'm literally that as a human being.
Yeah, you couldn't even protect yourself, Alana.
Really couldn't. If a sidewalk could fracture my ankle, like, I think it's pretty easy. Minimal effort would be needed to, like, destroy me.
You do have one superpower, though, and it's writing great fan fiction and having a great radio voice. So there you go.
Thank you, Francis. I'm not sure how it'll help me if I ever got kidnapped or attacked in any way, but I guess we're all just grateful that I go to bed at 9 p.m. and you will never see me anywhere by myself, because probably I have someone carrying my purse because my purse is so heavy. So yeah, I'm out there with like my dad or my brothers or Harley carrying my purse and everything I've ever brought anywhere. Honestly.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Well, I guess this is the start of a new subplot for us, working out, in our journey into working out. 2021 is just the year of all these different subplots. I know we alluded to it earlier. We've got your housing journey to fully explore this year, which we haven't started yet, but audience, it's coming. And now we've got just us evolving as people to include physical fitness. So I'm pretty excited for this. I mean, this is just us going back to normal, though. Wouldn't you say? Like, this is just us being able to get back to the way we were before pandemic. So this is a interesting step for us, I think.
Yeah, I think we've always been focused on growing as people, and there was just a little bit of a setback because of pandemic, because we were just confined to our homes. But yeah, now that we're getting back out into the world and we can explore these new subplots and this new direction for character development, I'm very excited. So what are the benchmarks of success? Like, should we check back in 6 months and see if I can carry a 20-pound weight?
Do you have the fitness test somewhere that we can do, maybe for our first live episode, is just record your results?
That's a really great idea. I think he keeps a record of everything. Like, he has all the notes of how I failed or what my score is. I bet I could get those notes and then also comparatively look at the new notes and we could go through it together. That would be everything.
Yeah, let's do it. This will be our first podcast together live in person, and it'll be seeing how close to a normal person you are. I'm amped for this one.
I'm so excited. I feel like so many people will be excited. Like Harley and my brothers and just everyone who's like, bitch, take in your own Amazon packages, okay? Like, come on. So, yeah, I'm very jazzed about this new journey. And I love that idea. I'm going to email him actually today and go, hey, I'm going to need those digital copies of those notes because I have an idea. Oh, God, that'll be great.
That's it for our show, folks. I'm Francis.
And I'm Alana, and you can find us on Instagram at HQAF.productions. We post every other week.
And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcasts.
And until next time,
the best ship to sail on is friendship.